Stop scrolling. The next economic crisis is not a slow market correction. It is a wealth transfer. And when it hits, 70% of households are going to watch their savings disappear because they are holding the wrong 5 assets. They are focused on growth when they should be focused on survival. If you're worried about keeping your money and your family safe when the system freezes, this video is the ultimate survival budget. I'm Sidney, and I'm giving you the only 5 financial assets you need to own to not just survive the crash, but come out stronger. Let's go! Here's the brutal truth most advisors or gurus don't tell people. When a real crisis hits, not a recession, not a correction, but a full system breakdown like what is coming soon, your traditional wealth vanishes overnight, your stock portfolio, gone, markets freeze, trading halts, your brokerage account becomes a number on a screen you can't access, your savings account, trapped behind bank withdrawal limits or worse, seized under emergency banking laws. It's happened before. Cyprus, 2013. Greece, 2015. Argentina, multiple times. When governments panic, your money becomes their solution. This isn't fear-mongering. This is historical pattern recognition. The difference between people who survive these events and people who lose everything comes down to one decision: the assets they chose to hold before the panic started. Because here's what nobody tells you. By the time you see the crisis, it's already too late to protect yourself. The banks have already restricted withdrawals. The gold dealers are sold out. The supply chains are frozen. The survivors, they positioned themselves months, even years in advance. They understood something critical. In a true economic collapse, liquidity dies, currency fails, and only tangible value survives. So today, I'm walking you through the exact 5 asset survival budget that protects you when the system breaks. These aren't investments for growth. These are non-negotiable crisis insurance positions. And I'm warning you now, asset number 5 is the one thing you cannot buy, but you must build. And most people don't realize they need it until it's already too late. Let's break it down. Asset number 1, physical gold and silver, the ultimate hedge. When currency collapses, when governments default, when the entire financial system freezes, there is one asset that has maintained value for over 5,000 years across every civilization, every empire, every economic system. Physical gold and silver, not paper, not ETFs, not certificates, physical metal in your possession. Here's why this is non-negotiable. Gold and silver carry zero counterparty risk. You don't need a bank to honor it. You don't need a government to back it. You don't need the internet, electricity, or a functioning financial system. It's universally recognized value that transcends borders, languages, and political systems. But here's the critical distinction most people miss. Gold and silver serve different purposes in your crisis portfolio. Gold is your wealth preservation tool. If you have $50,000, $100,000, or more that you need to protect from currency destruction, gold is where it goes. 1 ounce of gold has historically bought the same amount of essential goods for centuries. When hyperinflation hits and your dollars become toilet paper, the gold ounce still buys you a quality suit, a month of rent, or a significant amount of food, just like it did 100 years ago. Silver is your transactional metal. It's less expensive per ounce, which makes it perfect for smaller, everyday trades in a collapsed economy. Think about this practically. If the dollar fails and you need to barter for groceries, medicine, or fuel, are you going to hand over a 1 ounce gold coin worth $2,000 plus? You'll use silver rounds, pre-1965 silver dimes, or fractional silver pieces. Silver is the people's money. It's what you'll actually use when the barter economy takes over. Now, here's the part that separates survivors from victims. Physical possession is everything. In 1933, the US government confiscated gold from the citizens through Executive Order 6102. People who held paper claims to gold, the government knew exactly where it was and seized it. People who held physical gold hidden away, many kept it. Paper gold, ETFs, mining stocks, these are claims on metal. In a crisis, claims are worthless. Banks can default, funds can suspend redemptions, governments can confiscate, but physical metal in a safe that only you know about? That's real wealth that survives government collapse, bank failures, and currency destruction. Your move. Start building a position that's approximately 70% gold for preservation, 30% silver for transactions. Buy from reputable dealers, store it securely, tell no one. And sleep soundly knowing you hold an asset that has survived every empire collapse in human history. Asset number 2, short-term treasury bills, the system crash cash replacement. Let me ask you something. Where is your emergency fund right now? If you said, in my savings account, you're holding one of the most vulnerable positions in a banking crisis. Here's what most people don't understand. Your cash in the bank isn't actually yours. The moment a bank faces a liquidity crisis, they can and have frozen withdrawals, limited daily access, or even seize deposits to keep themselves solvent. It's called a bank holiday, and it's the polite term for you can't access your own money. So what's the alternative? Where do you keep liquid cash reserves when banks become liability traps? The answer? Short-term U.S. Treasury bills. Specifically, T-bills maturing in 4 weeks or less. Here's why this is genius crisis positioning. T-bills are backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. They're considered the most liquid, lowest risk asset on Earth. Even in a severe crisis, they're the foundation of the entire financial system. They're what other countries and institutions flee to when everything else collapses. But unlike your checking account earning 0.01%, T-bills pay you interest. Not much in normal times, but in a crisis when rates spike, that matters. And unlike bank deposits, T-bills aren't subject to withdrawal restrictions, bank runs, or institutional failure at the retail bank level. Think of T-bills as your crisis cash replacement. This is the money you'd normally keep in an emergency fund, but elevated to a safer, system-level position. The strategic play? You can buy T-bills directly through treasurydirect.gov. No broker, no middleman. Set them to automatically roll over every 4 weeks, and you've created a liquid safety net that exists outside the traditional banking system. This is the asset that becomes your life raft when banks freeze and ATMs stop working. Because while everyone else is panicking about accessing their trapped deposits, you're calmly converting T-bills to cash through the one system that's still functioning, the Treasury itself. Warning, this only works if you set it up before the crisis. When the bank run starts, Treasury Direct will be overwhelmed and account approvals will freeze. Position now. Asset number 3, debt-free paid-off land or home, the anchor asset. Now we're getting to the foundation of survival, shelter security. In any economic collapse, your absolute baseline needs are shelter and land. Without these, nothing else matters. And here's the non-negotiable truth. If you're still making mortgage payments, you're sitting on a time bomb. Miss 3 payments because the economy collapses, your income disappears, or banks call in loans early. Foreclosure. You lose everything. Leverage, debt, is a massive liability when the system breaks. But a property that's fully paid off, that's yours. No bank can take it. No lender can call the loan. It's your foundation. This is especially powerful if the property includes usable land. Not just a suburban house with a lawn, but actual productive land. Land you can grow food on. Land with a water source, a well, a spring, a creek. Land that gives you self-sufficiency. Because here's what most people miss. Real estate prices can crash. Market value can collapse. But the utility of shelter and land never goes to zero. You will always need a place to live. You will always need access to resources. And when food supply chains break and grocery stores empty in 72 hours, like they did during COVID panic buying, but worse, that land becomes productive wealth. It's not just a roof, it's your food source, your water source, your ability to create value when money stops working. Now, the realist in me knows the question you're asking. What about property taxes? Can't the government still take it if I don't pay? Yes, that risk exists. Which is why this asset must work in combination with assets number 1 and number 2. Precious metals and T-bills give you the liquidity to cover those ongoing obligations. But here's the key. A debt-free property gives you optionality. You can hunker down, you can wait out the crisis. You're not forced to sell at the bottom or scramble for mortgage payments while unemployed. The survivors of the Great Depression? Many were families who owned their farms outright. No debt, no leverage. Just land, shelter, and the ability to produce food. Your move. If you're still renting or holding a mortgaged property, make debt elimination your top financial priority. Cut expenses, sell unnecessary assets, get that property paid off. It's the anchor that keeps you grounded when everything else is chaos. Before we get to asset number 4, I need to warn you about something. The 5th asset on this list is the one most people completely overlook until it's too late. It's the asset you cannot buy on Amazon. You cannot acquire overnight. And yet in a true collapse, it becomes the most valuable thing you possess. I'm revealing it at the end because once you understand what it is, everything else clicks into place. Keep watching. Asset number 4, stackable, long-term food and water supply, the essential commodity. Now let's talk about the asset that most financial advisors will never mention because it doesn't fit their investment models. A 2-year supply of food and water. I can already hear the skeptics. That's not an asset, Sidney. That's just prepping. Wrong, dangerously wrong. An asset is anything that holds value and protects your purchasing power. And in a hyperinflation scenario or supply chain collapse, nothing, and I mean nothing, protects your purchasing power better than owning the essential goods before the price spike hits. Here's the math. If you spent $5,000 on freeze-dried food, rice, beans, canned goods, and water filtration 2 years ago, and today those same items cost $12,000 due to inflation and shortages, you didn't just save money, you made a return. You protected purchasing power better than gold, better than stocks, better than almost any financial instrument. But it's deeper than ROI. In a real survival crisis, food and water aren't just valuable, they're the only things that matter. You cannot eat gold, you cannot drink treasury bills. When store shelves are empty and trucks stop delivering, the family with a stocked pantry is wealthier than the family with $1 million portfolio they can't access. Let me give you the harsh reality. In every major collapse, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Weimar Germany, the Soviet Union's fall, grocery stores emptied in days, not weeks, days. And once they're empty, restocking takes months if supply chains ever recover. Your food stockpile is a hedge against inflation, supply shocks, and social breakdown all at once. It's the highest utility, crisis-time investment in personal security you can make. Here's your action plan. Focus on calorie-dense, long shelf-life essentials. Rice, beans, pasta, canned proteins, freeze-dried meals, cooking oil, salt, sugar, honey. Add water filtration systems, Berkey filters, life straws, purification tablets. Aim for a minimum 6-month supply, ideally 2 years. And here's the bonus. Unlike gold sitting in a safe, you actually use this asset. You rotate through it. You eat it. It's a zero-waste investment that feeds your family even if nothing catastrophic happens. This is what separates survivors from victims. When panic hits, one family is calm and secure. The other is fighting in grocery store aisles over the last bag of rice. Which family will you be? Asset number 5. High utility, barterable skills and tools, the value exchange. Now we arrive at the final asset, the one you cannot buy but must build. And in a true economic collapse where currency fails, this becomes your most valuable possession. High-demand skills and barterable tools. When money stops working, the economy doesn't stop. It shifts. It shifts to barter. And barter runs on real value, not paper promises, not digital numbers, real value. So let me ask you the most important question of this entire video. What is your high-demand skill? Can you fix engines, repair plumbing, provide medical care, do electrical work, grow food, preserve meat, purify water, build structures? These aren't hobbies. In a collapsed economy, these are income streams. These are how you trade for the things you need when currency is worthless. Look at history. During the Great Depression, blacksmiths, mechanics, doctors, seamstresses, people with tangible skills, maintained quality of life through barter. During hyperinflation in Weimar Germany, skilled tradespeople exchanged labor for food directly. In Venezuela's collapse, electricians and plumbers became wealthy in real terms by trading services. If you don't have these skills yet, start learning now. Pick one skill that will always be in demand. Basic medical aid, mechanical repair, food production, water purification, equipment maintenance. Get competent, practice. Build the knowledge base that cannot be taken from you. But skills alone aren't enough. You also need barterable goods, physical items with inherent utility that people will trade for. Stock these strategically. Bulk fuel, over-the-counter medications, antibiotics if legal, ammunition, alcohol, tobacco, coffee, batteries, hand tools, heirloom seeds, soap, first aid supplies, fire-starting materials. These items solve immediate problems. They hold value because they're useful. And in a barter economy, the person with a stockpile of in-demand goods and critical skills is wealthy, even with $0 to their name. This is your ultimate hedge, because governments can print money, markets can crash, banks can fail, but no one can take away what you know and what you can do.